You're now sitting at the Wavetable.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 25 of the Wavetable. This one is featuring Fungai, who I've been talking to for a while on Instagram. And it's good to finally get to speak to you actually through voice. So how you going, man?
No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm blessed. It's an honor to be here. Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. So you recently dropped a track called Likes. And do you want to tell us the story behind that track? Because I really take to heart the subject matter of that track.
Nah, what happened was I went out one night and it was like a networking event, you know what I mean? And networking event for me, various people. And and being around all these different artists and creatives and stuff. And I was just like, man, this is all nice and everything, but there's no real love here. You know what I mean? Everybody here, people are saying they seen you doing what you do or whatever, but nobody's really because when it comes to people that support you, who supports you, you know what I mean? Because you see them in your section, you see them checking out your songs, you see them sharing what you do.
Exactly.
And then people that are following you on Instagram, or some people just come and throw flame emojis. I hate that. That means you probably didn't even check out what's happening. You just check the flame emoji, you even read the caption. I was like, so many people are just doing this thing for the likes, and very few people are doing it for the love. For me personally, I take my craft hella serious. You know what I mean? I take it ultra serious. You know what I mean? And I love it so much to the point that if I hear that there's something going on on the other side of town, I'll drive there just to go check it out, or people styling in a car park somewhere. You know what I mean? I'll drive there just to be a part of that because I just love this thing so much. And whereas in modern day society, everybody just wants recognition, and everyone just wants clout, everyone just wants to be popping. But that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm just you know what? They do it for the love. They do it for the likes, but I do it for the love. Real talk, they're just Instagram hype, because most of the artists out there, they're literally just Instagram hype. And everybody has this picture of themselves that they paint, the online personality they have. But, when it comes to live shows, or when it comes to actually interacting with them as people, you really get to see, what people truly are. That you get to see the side of them they can't fake.
Yeah.
The image they can't portray. People literally get exposed. You know what I mean? It's just, that's what it's about for me.
Yeah, man. I've noticed that you're very real on social media, and that's something that I'm passionate about as well. Was there anything that made you decide that you wanted your brand essentially to just be you as real as you can be, or was it just it came naturally?
I'll probably say it came naturally. I mean, it's a bit of both, to be honest. I was just I've seen so many people, I met so many people on social media, whereby you see them online and you expect one thing, and then when you find them, they're completely different. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take it upon myself to paint the most genuine picture of me. You know what I mean? You follow me. I say the most crazy things in my captions, but that's just who I am. I'm a chill dude, and I like to have fun. And you know what I mean? I write my captions in the event that one day if I'm bored, I'll sit through and read through my captions and have a laugh. That's the intent in which I do it for. So I'm just I just want to paint the most honest picture, the most real picture of me.
Yeah.
That way, when somebody meets me in person, they'll be like, you are exactly who you say you are. And even in my music, I want to give the most true picture of me. That way, everything correlates. If you know me, then you know my art. And if you know my art, then you know me.
Oh yeah, man. I love how you're not afraid to show the real you, and also the other sides of you that aren't necessarily music related. when I dropped the Change of Heart EP, you came out and you were like, "Yo, I recognize that cover art. Like, is that Yu-Gi-Oh inspired?"
Yeah, like it caught me straight away because I knew like Change of Heart, like because growing up, like I wouldn't say like because to say it's a nerd, this, like, but Yu-Gi-Oh was like Yu-Gi-Oh was the cartoon at one point. You know what I mean? Like we had Yu-Gi-Ohs, we had Beyblades, we had all of that. So like that resonated with me personally. You know what I mean? And I was like, I felt that straight away. And then like when I watched like episodes of the Wavetable and you're explaining why you chose the name change, like that made sense to me because I know what the heart card means. So like it was just like that's me, bro. Like I'm just like you just gotta be real, bro. And like the thing is, what people don't realize is like the saying like real recognize real. Like people can feel that. People can feel when like you're being authentic when you're being real. People can see it. You know what I mean? So like, well, I just try my best to keep it 100 and just to give me in everything that I do.
What other things were you into growing up? Like Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblades, fucking like Digimon, Pokemon, that kind of shit. Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, like because Dragon Ball Z was like the first ever like cartoon I watched like overseas because I'm from Zimbabwe. So like my dad, before I lived in New Zealand before. So before I moved to New Zealand, like my dad recorded Dragon Ball Z and Beyblade on VCR for me.
Hell yeah.
It was like, I think 3-4 months before I could actually start school because like I was coming in the middle of the school year. So then, he recorded Dragon Ball Z and Beyblade for me. So that was like the first ever cartoon I watched. Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade, Bakugan, Battle Brawlers.
Oh yeah.
Bakugan, Zoids. Do you know Zoids?
No.
Zoids. Zoids is a good one. Initial D.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a bit of Naruto, but like I fell off on Naruto. One Piece. Man, so much. There's Crush Gear. I don't know if you know.
Oh yes. I used to fucking play those.
Crush Gear, man. Like those were the truth.
Did you ever write any songs about any of this stuff?
You know what? To think about it, no, I actually haven't. To be honest, I probably should. Like the most recent thing I did was I dropped the freestyle the other day and used the term "change your heart" because after I'd seen you do it, then I was like, I'm gonna put that in a rap.
Yeah.
But like, no, I actually probably need to. Like, I actually need to because the thing is with most like hip hop things, man. Like most people don't know like what half the stuff is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Right. With hip hop fans, it's different, especially like nowadays, man. Like this new age of hip hop fans, they'll have no idea like what Yu-Gi-Oh is, or like they might know the new Yu-Gi-Oh, like Yu-Gi-Oh GX or whatever, but it's not the same as like OG Yu-Gi-Oh with like Joey and Yugi and all of them. So it's like, I guess the hardest part is like because you want to be relevant in your music, but you also want to give a part of you. So you want to make sure that like it is consumable to everybody, like anybody who's listened to it, regardless of age, they'll be able to understand like the references and et cetera. But you know what? Challenge accepted, bro. I might have to make a song with like just cartoon references. Who knows?
Yeah. I kind of like the subtle references, like the things that still apply to real life, but they're also references because like Change of Heart, like that makes sense in itself, but it's also a reference to Yu-Gi-Oh at the same time, you know?
Yeah. That is like that's true creativity. Like, if you look at it from like a rap point of view, like when you're writing your lyrics, like everything has to have a double meaning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how the term, like when people say like bars, like this person's got bars, you're really talking about like creating lines and schemes that have people like scratching their heads like he said this, but this means this, but it could also mean this and it could also mean that, like, and that's definitely like that's like epitome of creativity, bro. If you're able to make people think on like multiple levels, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Have you got any advice for people who want to like start writing lyrics and shit, or is it just like put the years in?
Well, like I've been doing it for a long time, but the advice I could give, man, like, is with writing lyrics, just writing lyrics alone. Like you just have to be real. You know what I mean? You just have to be real. Like too many people make music talking about things that they haven't experienced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just keep it real. Like if you grew up privileged, it's cool. Like you don't have to say I grew up in the struggle if you didn't. Like it's cool. No one's gonna like bash you for being, for, you know what I mean, for having things. Like no one's gonna attack you. And if you grew up in the struggle, then you grew up in the struggle. You know what I mean? If you have loads of money, you have loads of money. If you don't, you don't. If you have a job, you have a job. Like, you know what I mean? Just keep it 100% real. And like what I noticed too, like obviously it's cool to, like, I'm sure you've heard the term like bubblegum music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a commercial. Like it's cool, but people like stories. People like things that they can resonate with. They want to be able to like listen to it and it remind them of something that they've been through or something they've seen. So when you're writing lyrics, you want to put you on the page. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And give you. You know what I mean? Even if you're telling, like sometimes, like I tell most of the stories I tell in my music are stories, things that I've been through. But then sometimes I tell stories like on behalf of other people. So then when I tell stories on behalf of other people, I still put me in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like imagine yourself in that situation.
Exactly. Because that's what happens. Like when you listen to music, right? Like music with lyrics or like a deep song, like you imagine yourself in that situation. Like you want to, you put yourself in that. So like when I hear a story or something that I want to speak about, I take me and I put myself in that situation. And then that helps me paint the picture. Like it helps me fill in the gaps, see everything clearer when I put myself in it. So like, yeah, man, biggest thing when you're writing lyrics, be you, most importantly. Like that's the backbone. And then you can build like the creativity after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I find it's like real easy to get like real shit down, but then like piecing it all together, making it flow well, making parts rhyme and stuff.
That's tricky.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. Because it's like, for example, I want to write a song about how I went to Woolies. That's the concept. That's as real as it gets. Like I went to Woolies and I bought tomatoes. But then like now having to, you know, like for example, when I write my lines, I write in 4-bar structures.
Okay.
So 4 lines rhyme and then the next 4, it's a complete different rhyme scheme. Like that. I just find it easier because you know how music is in bars, right? You got 8 bars.
Yeah.
So that means I have to have 2 lots of rhyming schemes. That's how I understand it. So I went to Woolies, so now I got to fill in the gaps to make this thing rhyme based off of what the idea is. You know what I mean? That's the hardest part.
Have you got any like apps or anything that you use? Because someone was telling me about one the other day.
Nah, not really, bro. Like, some people use like a Rhyme Zone, which basically just gives you like, you know, you tap in a word, you know, like apple, and then it comes with like words that rhyme. So like battle, saddle, and like rhymes by syllables, etc. Sometimes I do like that's if I'm desperate. Like if I'm really desperate, like I can't think of anything to finish this line to save my life. Then I'll be like, you know what? Rhyme Zone, check it out. But most of the time, bro, like with me, like it's if I hear like an instrumental that I really like and I'm feeling it, like I can have a verse or a hook down in about 5-10 minutes. It just like flows out like that. So most of my songs are just done off like instinct. Like if I spend more than like a day on a song, it's probably going to be trash.
Damn. Okay, so I guess that answers my question about how long it takes.
Obviously, there's some songs whereby like it, you know, it takes time, but it'll be like in 5-minute like slots, like 5-10 minutes. Like, I'll hear the beat, and if I feel the beat, like, because I guess it works with moods. Like if I hear an instrumental, like I can hear it speaking to me. Like this instrumental be saying like, okay, this this instrumental is saying this, so I need to write a song like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, if I don't like within the first 20 seconds, I can tell if I'm gonna be able to make something out of the instrumental or not. So in the first 20 seconds, if I'm not feeling it, then next. And if I start writing it and it just doesn't work out, I've got this thing called the song graveyard. Like, it just, I've got hundreds of songs in there. And then like sometimes I go back in there and then like, you know, revisit things with like a fresh mindset.
Mm.
And then if something is cool, I'll grab it. Or like I like the concept. Or maybe there's a line in one of the verses I've written that sounds dope. I'll just steal it from there, put it into this one, and then patch it all together. And then, yeah, man, just to make it work. But for me, how long it takes to write a hit song, like a good song, an hour.
Damn, that's quick. Holy shit.
Hour.
So, since you were talking about like writing lyrics over instrumentals, like knowing based off the first 20 seconds, I was wondering if you had any like good places, like recommendations of where to get your instrumentals.
See, for me personally, like, you're a producer. No offense to you, bro, but producers are the worst people to work with, man. They're the worst. Actually, no. No. Singers, vocalists are the worst. Number one, worst people to work with. Trash. Second are producers. So what happened was I just got tired of begging people for beats, bro. Like, I got tired of begging people for beats. I used to beg people like, hey man, like, hook me up. Do you know what I mean? And you gotta be their friend, talk to them nice for ages just for them to say no. Like, I got tired of that. So there's like BeatStars.
Yeah.
And BeatStars and SoundClick. And basically producers just go and upload their beats there. So it's like a service. Producers are looking for rappers. Rappers are looking for beats. So producers put their beats on there, and then you just buy like licenses, you know what I mean? And exclusive and stuff. That's what I did initially. Now, like, I'm kind of at that level now whereby I get producers sending me beats, and you know, like, I've got in-house producers that I work with.
That's sick.
And then, you know, like, we'll sit down and make something. Sometimes if I can't get a hold of my producers, like, I'll go on BeatStars or whatever. I grab something and I'll be like, yo, I want something with this vibe.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? They'll go and make it and then bring it back to me. I write it and then record it, and you know. But BeatStars, SoundClick, man, they're the like, if you're still starting out, you don't know no producers, those are the best places to go.
Hell yeah, man. Any producers on here who want to make some money making rap beats, get on SoundClick and BeatStars, hey? You've
heard of it, yeah?
Yeah, I've heard of BeatStars, but not SoundClick.
I think SoundClick was like the OG. Like, SoundClick,
okay.
The OG before BeatStars. SoundClick's still a thing now, but BeatStars is more like a refined version of SoundClick.
Right.
But and they got everything, like any genre, you name it.
Oh,
you can
really?
Get anything, bro.
I thought it was pretty much just hip hop instrumentals.
No, man, you can get anything. But check out SoundClick, bro. Check out SoundClick. You find anything. Even you can upload some of your instrumentals there. And yeah, man, it's the best place to get things. Like, if you're title begging like I was, because I was just like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. And then that's where I found out about SoundClick and BeatStars.
Yeah, sweet. So how long have you been rapping now, dude?
Like, seriously, I've been rapping for about, we'll just say, like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
If we combine the non-serious part, like 15.
Damn.
Yeah, bro. The only thing, shit. I'm a veteran. Like, I'm a seasoned veteran. It's just, I'm just young. But like, I started when I was like 9 years old. And this is before the digital era. So like, you know, we made CDs, mixtapes and stuff like that. Toured around New Zealand. The whole thing. Like, what just killed was, like, I was really late to the digital age.
Right. Okay.
I was late to Instagram and Facebook, and because before it was like MySpace. Like, I was on MySpace, and like that's where we were. So like, And I guess it's that mentality, that old head mentality. We're like, nah, we're not gonna go right there. Like,
yeah, like people with TikTok these days.
yeah, like I'm one of them. I'm like, man, TikTok. You know what I mean? I don't even know how to TikTok. Like, even if I don't even know how I'd be able to TikTok. But yeah, we were like really, really late. Like my Instagram is only like maybe 4 years old.
Mm.
And, I kick myself every time. I'm like, man, imagine if I started Instagram like before they closed down MySpace. Because like, they closed us down while we're still there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If I started my Instagram and stuff then, like obviously my reach and stuff would have been way bigger than it is now, for sure.
Yeah, I guess this is a good thing to kind of learn from and build upon, like in the future when new apps do come out, such as TikTok and all that stuff. Just to jump on there straight away,
If you can, yeah. Like if not, like I think as I get older now, like I'm starting to realize like it's cool to have your own pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you like as a young artist, like you want to be everywhere. You want to have like an enormous presence. But at the end of the day, like, you look at some of the great artists or, great musicians, great bands, whatever, like they're not everywhere. You know what I mean? For example, like you look at, we'll say like Jay-Z. How many times do you hear Jay-Z has done something? But he's still, you know what I mean?
True.
Skrillex, when was the last time you heard like a big announcement? Rarely ever. But he's still Skrillex. You know what I mean? Marshmallow is still Marshmallow. DJ Khaled is still DJ Khaled. But, it's just having your own pocket. Like, if you've got your own solid core, solid base of people that like what you do and appreciate what you do, like, that's just as good as being everywhere. Because at the end of the day, whether you're performing in front of 50,000 or 5,000, like, you're still doing good. You're still eating. Like, you're still successful, man. Because
very true.
Not very few people get to do what we do at a high level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As a lot of the like marketing gurus say, it's about having that tight knit group of like super fans rather than just having like a million fans who don't really care about anything.
Exactly. Because the thing about the hordes, as we call them, right? Like they'll find you. Okay, Astroreign is the hottest thing right now. Boom, you escalate. And then when they're done with you, they just spit you out and then they jump onto the next thing. You know what I mean? Whereas in like, if you build a solid fan base, like look at Apple, for example, man. Apple, they're not even Apple. Like, do you play Xbox? Do you play video games?
Yeah.
For example, FIFA has been selling us the same game for like the last 20. But best know when the new FIFA comes out, I'm buying it. I don't know what it might put crack in there. I don't know, but I'm buying it. And it's just because they've just slowly built up that solid brand loyalty. You know what I mean? That no matter what they put out, we're still going to support it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Call of Duty gets progressively worse every year. We still go and get it. You know what I mean?
I think they also really play on FOMO, like if you don't get this new thing, then you're missing out on playing with like all these awesome games with people and shit.
Exactly. Like iPhone, they add less things. Like they remove things as the years go by, and people still line up and buy an iPhone. So like for me, I'm like, if I've got my solid 50 fans that bump me on a regular, like I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? If I can get those 50, like if I can fill up a venue with 50 people, then I'm cool with it too. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, speaking of like filling up venues with 50 people, quick shout out to the Wob House, Aussie dubstep venue in Hoppers Crossing. Anyway, moving on. You are the self-proclaimed coolest rapper ever. Tell us.
Bro, I'm not self-proclaimed. Like I didn't.
Oh really? Shit.
I didn't. It's just like the term, like the people's champ.
Shit, like, man, that's awesome.
What happened was like there's this thing called the Get Down events. They had this thing. It was like the People's Choice event. So basically, they were throwing a gig. They're like, we'll have on whoever you guys say you want on. So then I like smashed the record of like the most votes ever. in his.
Damn.
So then people dub me the People's Champ, and I kind of just roll with it. And then coolest rapper ever. It's like, I guess when like people hear the term rapper, like they expect a certain sort of, they expect you to be a certain way.
Yeah.
They expect you to sound a certain way. And like, I'm the complete opposite, man. I'm like, I try to be 100% humble with everything. And people just are like, bro, you're the coolest dude, man. Like, you're so cool. Like, I didn't expect you to be like this. And it just became a thing. And like, you're the coolest rapper. You're the coolest rapper ever. And then
Gotcha.
it became a thing. And then I changed it to like my Instagram handle. And then it's just kind of stuck. And now that's like what people refer to me as, like the coolest rapper ever.
So it's more cool in like the state of being chill rather than like flexing and shit.
Yeah, but it's like in the sense of like being a good person. Like when someone's like, bro, you're cool. Like it's like that. It's like that. But also like in terms of like hip hop terminology, like I'm cold with it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, so it's just a thing now, and I kind of just rock with it, and
And that's awesome to have been given that name by the community. Essentially, I didn't know that, so my bad for saying that was self-proclaimed.
It's X rapper now.
So I want to go bring it back to like 15 plus years ago, and I want to get like your first experience as a musician. Like who were like 3 artists that got you into music, essentially?
3 artists of top. Number 1 was Eminem. Number 2 was 50 Cent and G Unit. And 3 was what was I listening to back then? Like probably like Nas.
Okay.
Back then. Yeah, because like my first ever CD that I ever bought with my own money, I bought the single to Lose Yourself by Eminem. So it had the song,
yes.
trailer, the movie for 8 Mile. It had the instrumental, and then it had the remix to Renegade with Jay-Z. And I remember I went to the warehouse, which is like the equivalent of like the Big W here. And it was like $5.99, bro. My mom gave me some money, and I bought that CD. And that was the first instrumental I ever rapped on. And like, yeah, man, I used to love Eminem. Like just the way like he told stories like in his serious songs, you know what I mean? Like he was able to paint a whole picture, and like it was just, he was it for me.
Hell yeah. That's awesome that you rapped like over the instrumental of the first CD you ever bought.
Yeah, good times, man.
So have you got any advice for people who want to like start rapping? Because like if someone's an adult, it's like very intimidating, I guess, because you feel like you have those more like self-imposed limitations of not being free, like creatively free.
Mm.
So like, could you like harken back to when you were a kid? And
I mean, at any point, I'm sure you can understand this. Okay, if you're trying to make music, okay, number 1, you're not gonna make any money. Music. Number 2, right? You're not gonna be instantly famous. That's not gonna happen. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Okay, if you're doing it for money or popularity, you're not gonna get zero, nothing, nada. Once you've understood that concept, then the advice I have for you is, first you got to find out who you are, not only as a person, but who you are in music as well. Because music is an extension of you. You know what I mean? So like for me, like I guess people say like I'm a deep, like wise person. So like most of my music is real like conscious. You know what I mean? And like for the serious songs, they're conscious, and they're about to motivate and to inspire. But you first gotta find who you are, and then once you find who you are, you find your sound. Because the biggest thing is people jump on waves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They jump and want to sound like this person, and when that's not hot anymore, they jump to this. But the thing is, why if I can listen to Astroreign, why would I go and listen to somebody who's trying to sound like Astroreign? Like, that's just stupid. Like, I don't want to listen to some $2 knockoff. I'll just go listen to you. Same thing. People want to sound like Eminem. Like, why would I invest my time when I can listen to the real thing? So, like, find you and you find your sound and you discover what you're most comfortable with. You know what I mean? Like, just because you like a certain style doesn't mean you have to make that style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You make the style that suits you. That's number one. Number two, like, don't force the music, bro. Like, don't force it. Like, music is an art. It's beautiful. It comes naturally. Like, don't try to force it. You know what I mean? Just because, or for example, with like when we talk about features, just because I can do a feature with you doesn't mean I just have to force it and make it happen. Like, it's probably just gonna turn out whack. Like, let the music happen for itself. You know what I mean? And then lastly, is you just gotta be patient.
For sure.
Like, you gotta be patient. For me, like, I guess I've experienced success like twice, really, or semi-success. I mean, like before the digital age, like, you know, when I was in Auckland and stuff, like, I got to a point like like the crew I was with, like, we had become like a household name. Like, people who they recognize us. You know what I mean?
That's sick.
Or even before we had demos out, people like knew our songs and stuff like that. So like that was dope. And then now, you know, like slowly now I'm becoming like a household name. Like, you know, when it comes to like Melbourne and we talk about hip hop, you know what I mean? I'm one of the names that get mentioned. But remember, it's taken me 15 years to get to this point, right? So like, it's not easy. Like, yes, some people do blow up overnight. That happens all the time. But the chances of it happening like to you, like, rarely ever. Like, it just doesn't happen to anybody. You know what I mean?
It's
so you
like,
just have to be really patient.
Yeah, it's a game of endurance for sure.
Pretty much, man. Like, you know, Nipsey Hussle said it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not about, you know, how long it takes to get there, but it's just about, you know, getting to the finish line. You know what I mean? And that's the most important part. Like, if you understand those concepts, then you're good. And number 4, the last one is like, it's okay not to make it as how you want to. Like, if it's like less than 1% of people make it are successful musicians. Less than 1%. Like, for example, if I'm trying to make it as rapper and it doesn't work out, like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Just because I didn't make it as rapper doesn't mean I can't help somebody else who's trying to make it.
True.
Producer doesn't mean you can't help somebody else who's trying to make it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be okay with the fact that, hey, I might try this and it may not work out, but it's cool. Like, it's all right. Embrace it and just acknowledge that fact. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. And there's nothing stopping you from just continuing to do it throughout like the rest of your life. Even if you don't like quote unquote make it, like, it's still awesome to just do it as a hobby, you know?
Exactly. It's like, for example, like some of our favorite artists that hypothetically they fell off. They're like writing songs for like the biggest acts right now. You know what I mean? They're producing for like the biggest acts right now. So like, again, you know, just because you don't have to stop. Like, you can get into mentoring artists, like mentoring people that are coming up. Like, the greatest tool in life, right, is to be able to, you know, to like, if you have access to somebody who's lived it, you know what I mean? That's why it's important. Mentors and stuff like that is, as a mentor, like, now if I meet somebody, I have all this experience. You know what I mean? I've made heaps of mistakes. The best thing somebody can do is come to me and I tell them what I know and avoid them making those mistakes. That way they don't have to, not necessarily waste, but use up 15 years to get to the point that I'm at. Do you know what I mean? If you can do what I've done in 15 and you do it in 3, then we have succeeded. You know what I mean? Then I've done my part and you've gotten to reap the benefits of the work that I put in. You know what I mean? And just because again I didn't make it as some big shot doesn't mean like it's game over. You know what I mean?
And on the mentor thing, like, you're not just helping one person, like you're helping the future of humanity essentially. Because like when you spread your knowledge, the people you spread your knowledge to are going to keep spreading that to like the generations to come, and it's just yeah. And I just want to jump back to like the riding waves thing you mentioned as number one. I'm definitely guilty of this myself, like creating music to fit trends. But yeah, I just want to say, like, if you're trying to ride a wave, you got to realize that you're already too late. Pretty much, like you have to actually be the wave rather than the person surfing on it.
Facts, man. Like one of my like quotes is like, because I'm short, bro. I'm like I don't know, I'm like 5'7", 5'8". But like, you know, one of my quotes is like, I'm too short to catch a trend, but I'm big enough to start a wave.
Hey.
And it is that the sense that like, even if there's nothing wrong with like sampling from the culture, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong from like, okay, this is what's hot right now, but you gotta take it, and then you like, you know how people use like, put it in your own words.
Yeah.
In your own handwriting. Okay, how do I take this concept and make it, you know, that if you listen to it, you'd be like, okay, this sounds like a Fungai type of track. You know, this sounds like a like, you know, have you seen like when you go on YouTube, it's like, I don't know, Lil Wayne type beat.
Yeah.
How do you take it and you make it like for you? You know what I mean? If you can do that, like this, I think that's how like, you know, music has evolved. You know, somebody comes up with something and then somebody else takes it, and you know what I mean? Like the biggest mistake like older artists have made is they've refused to evolve with the time.
Yeah.
And they stay stuck in the past, and then they get lost in the past. But the greatest artists are the ones that are able to take whatever's new right now and then adapt with it. Like for example, we look at like Method Man, right? Method Man and the Wu-Tang Clan, they started off in like late 80s, 90s, and they're still relevant to today, and they're still making music.
Yeah.
Jay-Z is one of the biggest artists in the world, and he started in the 90s. So he's made it through 3 decades, really, of making music. You know, you look at Beyonce, she, you know, or even like look at like rock bands, you know, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC. They've been around ancient times, bro. But they've just managed to like make the subtle changes that keep them relevant in modern day times. You know what I mean? And that's how you like, you go from good to great.
Yeah. And when artists make these changes, there's always those people that are like, oh, this artist has changed, I don't like them anymore. But you got to realize that the people saying that, they essentially like aren't really a fan of the actual artist in the first place.
Right. Facts, man. And like, again, if you're like a true musical fan, like just because you don't understand something or you don't like it, like if you're a real fan, you'll respect it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember, like when everyone started using autotune, there was like a time like around 2009, 2010, where like everybody just started using autotune. Even like people that could sing were using autotune.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it became a thing. But like, a lot of people are like, nah, this is whack because they're using autotune. But then it's like, nah, man, this is where the industry is going right now. So you just have to accept it. It's like, for example, now, like the term genre doesn't exist because, you know, anybody, like, we just have like hybrid genres now. You know what I mean? Like for example, like Sway Lee from Ray Shrimmer, you get on like a drum and bass sounding track, but then it'll be like on the hip hop charts. And you're like, you know what I mean? It's just people are learning to adapt. And, you know, just because you don't like it doesn't mean the rest of the world doesn't like it too. So you just have to be willing to adapt, not only as a listener, but as an artist as well. But you should never bite. Never bite and never jump on a train, but you should adapt.
I'll have to, is that drum and bass type track like a real thing? I'll have to check that out if it is.
Yeah, check it out, bro. It's so many people, man. Like, I'll send you a link. Like one of my favorite rappers, his name is Ace Hood, and he he started his rap career like making like music for the hood. That's why his name is Ace Hood, like motivational music from the. And he's got this crazy like drum and bass dubsteppy sounding track, and it's just. I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is. I'll send it to you, bro. I was like,
yeah.
I like this, man. I'm like, it's different, but I like it, and I guess I see why he did it. Just think, like, drum and bass and dubstep. That's a genre they use the most. Movies, soundtracks, video games, etc, etc, etc. So you feel like, nah, bro, I'll never get on a drum and bass dubstep track. Then, bro, like, you're being left behind, man. No matter what game you play, there's drum and bass. There's more drum and bass and dubstep than there is like everything else. You know what I mean?
So I was wondering, like, what else you got up to during lockdown? Like writing music, obviously, number one. Maybe. I don't know.
That's not like, to be honest, like the term lockdown didn't exist for me, bro.
Oh, really?
Like, literally, bro. Like, for me, I was like, I don't have to go to work. Like, that for me was like, that's the greatest thing. Like, because like I want to do this full time. I want to do this forever.
Yeah.
And if I'm in a situation where I don't have to go to work, and like, you know, life and God has just aligned it so I don't have to work. I can literally sit and just make music. Like, I don't know about other people, but I've made the most of my lockdown, bro. Like, I've done so much. Like, in lockdown alone, like, I dropped an album 2 months ago, and that's still going up. You know what I mean? People are still streaming that like till today.
Yeah,
still going crazy. I just dropped a single yesterday, and that's going up. People are feeling that too. And then I've made enough music that I can drop one song every month for the next like 24 months.
Damn. That's a hell of a lot, dude. Holy shit.
It's probably more than 24 months. It's a lot more than that. It's probably, yeah, maybe 36 months, maybe more than that.
God,
that's how much music I've made. And these are not just like concepts. This is done. Like, done to drop. Like, I was just saying the other day, like, right now, I could drop like another 10-track album right now if I really wanted to. And then I could drop like an EP straight after. But that's how much I've utilized my lockdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I reckon singles are where it's at right now anyway.
Hey? For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. But it's like, for me, I like to work in bulk. Yeah. In the sense that, like, with every season, there comes a sound. You know what I mean? So then one thing I noticed was with singles, you know, I might make this single for this sort of, you know, certain season. And then in that season, I make more songs that are similar to it. But then if I take my time releasing them, that season's passed. You know what I mean? So then, although you may not want to, sometimes you just have to release them together. That way it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you ever think like I'm not really sure how much the actual end listener feels the season, because I feel like you know, I definitely get what you're saying, and a lot of my tracks I group them together like based on the feeling of when they were made. But as for the listener, I don't know if they actually have that same feeling.
See, it's tricky, bro, because like, especially nowadays, man, people go through things like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you know this. You go on the internet, something has gone viral today. Give it like a week, something else has gone viral.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So you can't really be sitting on, like, especially if it's like subject-based music. For example, like, let's say you make a song to do with Trump and the elections, right? That's only going to be dope for like that little pocket. You know what I mean? And if that pocket ends, that's it. Like, you that song, if you drop it like 6 months from now, it's not going to have the same sort of bite that it did back then. But then if you're able to compile it, like the last album I did, it was basically just like a whole bunch of love songs, and it was like the journey of a relationship from start to finish.
Yeah.
So I was working on, like, I'm currently working on another album right now, and then I sat down and looked at it. I'm like, hold on, there's like 4 love songs in here. Like, I can't drop the album with 4 love songs. So I was like, okay, how can I best do it? So I was like, you know what? Let me split this and turn it into an album on itself.
Yeah.
And then all I had to do was fill in the gaps. So it ended up being 8 tracks or 9 tracks all up. But if you listen to it all together now, it makes sense because it's the journey of, a relationship from start to end. And in the time too, I dropped it around winter time because, winter's season, you know what I mean? And then, so it makes sense that way. But if I was to wait and then drop a love song every month for the next 8 months, that wouldn't have had the same hit as it did as dropping it all together.
I definitely agree. It's a very tricky one because, like, just purely marketing wise, singles like are great, but then like concept wise, definitely albums and EPs hit that much harder for sure.
It's the generation we're in though, man. Because rarely do you see artists making albums. Number one, Number two, only like true fans will sit down and listen to an artist's whole project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Nowadays, people just like dash through things. You know what I mean? Like, an artist drops something, you kind of just flick through, find your favorite song. That's the only one you listen to, and then that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Given like how much music you wrote over the course of lockdown, I'm sure there's people listening to this that are like, how in the fuck did he write that much music? Obviously just wanting to make this your full-time thing is like a big motivator, but I was wondering if you had like any other like tips for how to stay disciplined and focused on the music grind.
Man, like for me personally, but I'm hungry. Like I'm hungry. Like I want this so bad. Like another one of my favorite sayings is like, everybody says they're a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. Like for me, like again, the fact that I didn't have to go to work and I got all this additional time, I was like, I'm gonna use that to the fullest. But also, man, like if I look back on my journey, man, like I've met so many people and I've done this thing with so many people. Like to some extent, like I feel like I owe it to them, man. Like that I gotta make it for us. You know what I mean? Yeah. All the people I've met along the journey and everything like that. And like I know how good I am.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I understand how good I am. Like I understand like how great I am, in fact. So then I'm like, I'm too good to not make it.
Fuck yeah, man. That's it, bro.
And one other thing that gets me is like, I want to get my work ethic to be at such a high standard, because what happens to a lot of artists, I'm not sure like in your industry, but in the hip hop industry, a lot of people work so hard to get to that point.
And then
once they get to that point, they don't know how to maintain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm going to get my work ethic so high that the moment somebody makes a mistake and signs me, I'm going to drop so much heat and I'm going to just be ready. Like I'm going to be used to the constant hours in the studio, hours writing, hours, like, you know this, bro. Mixing and mastering is like the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like it takes me an hour to write and record a song, but it takes like days to get the mix right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like building up that conditioning to be able to just get it right. Like, again, like biggest motivator, I'm like, I'm too good to not make it. So I might as well just keep it going, bro. And I've been doing this for so long. Like I didn't even know what I would be if I'm not making music. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know what I'll do with myself. So like, consider all those facts and all those things, and like, you know, also the fact that like, although I've told many stories, I got so many more stories to tell, so much more I have to put out there. Like that's what keeps me going. So, you know, with all that considered, that's what gets me up. Like as well as like pre-lockdown, man. Like I don't know about other people, but like for me, if I go to an event and I see somebody doing something at a high level. You know, like you go to a gig, you see somebody performing. Like I can't sleep that night because I'm like, man, how do I get what I'm doing to get to that level?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I'll get home 3, 4 in the morning, bro, and I'll just start writing and listening to beats and trying to make something. Like I could be up for the rest of the day because I'm just like I just feel so inspired and I'm just so hungry. You know what I mean? And like it's not for the faint-hearted, bro. Like if you're just doing this and you think like, you know, you're gonna just boom put a song up on Spotify these days. It's not SoundCloud anymore. Spotify, right? Think you can put a song on Spotify, and then boom, next thing you've got all this money and you got girls and the internet. That's not how it works, bro. Like the hardest part is the part that people don't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That hours spent working in the studio, mixing, mastering, getting the sound right. Like, and for me, like on the internet, like when you see the things I post, some of those are like months old because like I never post what I'm doing currently. I post like what I've done.
Gotcha.
So you see this and you're like, man, this guy is in the studio now. One day he's dropping a song next, but it's like, nah, bro, there's so much that's happened in between.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you don't see. You know what I'm saying? But these are the old things that goes into like actually being able to get to a point where you think that you can make it.
Oh yeah, it's really cool how you see people in like doing great, and you're like, okay, what do I need to do to get there? Because it's like you have what it takes. It's just a matter of like finding that path, you know,
piecing it together. And it's not even like in a jealous or competitive way, but it's more like in an inspirational way. Like I told you this before. Like I was like, I watched you, and you were dropping a podcast like every day. I was like, bro, how is this guy even doing it? Then I was like, man, if I think I'll work hard, then obviously not. Like I'm not working hard enough. Like if he's able to not only make music, right? Because you're dropping videos of you actually producing, mixing, and then you're providing content. Not only that, then you're able to do a podcast, and podcasts too. Like a lot of editing goes into that as well. I'm like, bro, if this guy can do all of this, then Fungai, clearly you're not working hard enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like you got to work harder. If you can do all of that and still have time to chill, then bro, you got to get it together. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. For real, I've been working like smarter, not harder lately though, to be honest. Like honestly, I've only been working like 4 or 5 hours a day lately, and still keeping shit up for the most part. But I guess
I mean, like
that's kind of because I've been like taking a bit of a break from music, like not doing too much original stuff, mostly remixes at the moment.
But I mean, that comes with like time though, you know what I mean? Like you start to learn what works for you. And so then what normally takes ages to do is now being shorter because you understand like how to do this in an efficient manner. You know what I mean? Like even with me, like right now I've been on a break because like I said, I literally just dropped something 2 months ago. I dropped something yesterday, and I've been working on tracks in between. But like instead of every day I'm in the studio, I'm trying to write and record and stuff, like I give myself one musical day a week.
Right. That's cool.
So like not saying that like sometimes I'll think of a line in my head, I'll just write it down.
Yeah.
But then on my musical day is when I'll get down and I'll sit down and I'll put everything in order and see what I've made or compiled will come through during the week. And then I do it, whatever. And then if I finish it that day, cool. If I don't, then I just put it to the side and then wait till my next musical day. Because otherwise, like that's how you burn out and you work yourself to the ground. But at the same time, like with working smarter, not harder, like if you work smarter, not harder, you're still working hard.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just doing it in an efficient way.
Yeah.
So with that being said though, like on my musical day, like in my allotted time, there's no phones going off, everything, and I'm focused like for that period of time. And if I come up with something, like I'm not sleeping, whatever, until like at least I get it to like a demo stage.
Yeah. The phone going off is actually a huge thing too, by the way. Like can't count the amount of times like I've lost pretty much hours essentially over the course of a week just from checking my phone.
Pretty much, bro. Like, currently, like, I checked my thing, and like, you know how it tells you how amount of time you're spending. Like, I don't know if it counts the exact amount of time I'm actually on the app, but I think I clocked like 4 or 5 hours on Instagram the other day.
Jesus,
like, that is a lot.
Holy fuck!
I don't know whether it's like if the app is in the background or whatever, but like, you know what I mean? That's still like a lot. You know what I mean? So like, I'll even let my phone die. Like, I'll let the battery die, and then I'll just focus on what I'm doing. And then if I can't make nothing, cool. Because sometimes, like, you know, you be in the session going hard, and then someone comes, like, sends you a meme or whatever.
Yeah.
And then from just checking that, you're going to spend like another half an hour to 2 hours just like doing nothing, just based off that one message that came through. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to avoid all those distractions. And like, so when I'm locked in, and that's it.
Hell yeah, man. So speaking of like all this music creation that you've been on over the past like 5, 6, 7 months, I don't even know. What's the next thing that's coming for you?
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, bro. Actually, no. So next, I mean, I dropped the single yesterday.
Yeah.
So you know, that's still going up. And the deal is if it gets to 2,000 streams, then we'll drop the video.
Hell yeah.
Which we shot before lockdown too. And then after that, like me and some of my friends, we got together. We made like a combined, like a collaborative album.
Sick.
Which is like 10 tracks between like 6, 7 people. You know what I mean? So that's pretty decent. So that's dropping early next year. I'm contemplating. I haven't decided yet, but I've got a few tracks. I'm like, either wait till next year and release them individually, of which I really don't want to do that, or you know, I'm basically sitting on like a 6, 7 track EP right now that I may or may not drop depending how I feel. Like, I might just flip a coin and then, you know what I mean, drop it that way. And then next year, like, I don't want to give it a timeline, but like I said, I'm working on another album, and this will be like my third like studio project, like as a solo artist. So yeah, I again, I don't want to give it a timeline, but just whenever I get it done. So maybe next year, maybe the year after, who knows? And the thing is about like big projects like that too, is like sometimes you be working through it and then you get to a certain point, but like it's like you develop and you grow as a person.
Yeah. So
like the songs that you did complete, they don't really reflect you as much, you know, where you're at least. So now you gotta repackage it, and you know. So who knows? Like, I don't want to give it an exact timeline, but definitely working through it. More videos coming through. Once we start to get shows, looking at like doing some tours and stuff, doing some travel, like interstate, as also like international between like here in New Zealand.
What state are you in at the moment, by the way?
I'm in Victoria, bro.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Okay, I'll have to catch you sometime.
That's for sure, man. You see me around. But yeah, like just interstate, traveling, and yeah, just a whole lot, bro. And like I've also gone into like mentoring. So I got 2 artists that I'm working with right now. One of them, like her first ever like recording experience was like on my EP.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, she loved that, and she's super talented. So next step is just trying to get her like at least just a single of her own, maybe like an EP.
Yeah.
I'm just helping her out with that. And I got another like young up and coming artist who I'm just gonna be mentoring, you know, showing him the game and showing him a few of my contacts, and you know, just tagging him along with me. You know what I mean? Whatever I'm doing, get him doing that as well. Help him develop. So yeah, bro, there's a lot.
That's fucking sick, man. Anyone who's like even faintly interested in rap, definitely go give Fungai a follow like right now, because the amount of content that you're sitting on, it is insane. And also go stream his track Likes. It just came out like yesterday with Motley and Sin Santos. And it's a fucking sick track. I'm all about the subject matter because like so many people are fake on social media and stuff.
We know it, bro. We know it. Even in our circle, because we have a mutual circle, and it's just like, you know what I mean? Sometimes, like, not to fire shots at anybody, but, you know what I mean? You know, some people just be like flames. And like, it's cool. Like, thank you for taking your time to come and comment on what I'm doing. But to be honest, like, I'd rather you never comment on anything that I do. You know what I mean? Then you just, you know what I mean? Because like, it means nothing. You know what I mean? But if you're able to literally, like, you know, what's an Instagram video? Like a minute.
Yeah.
Or how long does it take to really caption? Like freaking 20 seconds. Like take the 20 seconds to read my caption. And at least if you're gonna comment, like comment something relevant, bro.
Yeah. This may be petty, but like the people who do that, I've just started doing them the same back to them rather than actually reading and like being thoughtful. Because like it's like if you're not going to put in the effort for me, then I'm not going to do it for you. You know?
You know what I mean? Like I'd rather have one listener, one fan, one whatever who likes what I'm doing and is even able to, like, I've so many people, man, like it's just like this is a whole different topic altogether. But like, you know, some people would be like, yo, bro, I like what you're doing. Like, let's collaborate. And it's like, all right, cool. And they'll be like, send me your stuff. I'm like, bro, if you're asking me to send me my stuff, that means you don't know what I do.
Yeah, true. You didn't do any research.
You didn't do zero research, nada. You know what I mean? Like, if you know me and you know what I do, then you know exactly how you should approach me, or you should know exactly even if this collab is possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like sometimes you get females sliding in DMs like, I like your music. Which one? I like all of them. That's a lie, first of all. Okay? That's impossible. You can't like everything. So like, just stuff like that, bro. Like, I'm just tired of the pretentious. Like, I'd rather, like, tell me the truth, bro. Like, be like, you know what, bro? I didn't like this. I thought this was whack. Cool. Like, how can I make it better? If you can tell me how I can make it better, by all means, I will listen to you. Like, remember the other day we had a conversation. I'm like, bro, to be honest, like, I don't really listen to drum and bass or, you know, anything aside from hip hop and reggae. But, like, you know, I see what you're doing and I respect it. You know what I mean? That's a real comment, because, like, that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, I respect, and, like, you know, I understand a bit. You know what I mean? But I if you were to tell me, like, what's the difference between a good track and a bad, I'll honest to you, I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? Just based off of me. But for example, like, things like if we're talking about mixing and mastering, like, I get stuff like that. You know, we're talking about this, or even just work ethic alone. Like, you can see somebody's work ethic and you can respect it. You know what I mean? Like, that's if you can have real conversations like that. Like, for example, you're not a heavy hip hop head like me.
Yeah.
And you probably don't understand hip hop like me, but you still respect it. You respect the work ethic. You respect the content. You respect the subject matter. You know what I mean? You respect the professionalism, and you can respect the sound. You know what I mean? The sound quality. So just because you don't like exactly what I'm doing doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, you still respect it, and you can still take the time. If you don't understand what somebody's doing, you take the time to understand exactly what they're doing.
Exactly, man. I think people are just like too like focused on getting that quick fix on social media. So yeah, given that we've circled back to the subject matter of likes, make sure you go stream that. And
stream that, bro. Stream that. We'll talk.
I think we're gonna wrap it up here. And yeah, go check out Likes by Fungai, Sin Santos, and Motley. Peace. Thanks for tuning in.